I don't think anybody at Disney can imagine ever having another year as bad as 2023 at the box office. Just bomb after bomb after bomb, whether it be Lucasfilm with Indiana Jones, whether it be the MCU with the Marvels, whether it be Pixar itself with Elemental, or even Disney Animation with Wish. It seemed like they could do nothing right in 2023. And now we are in 2024, but they are basically almost kind of taking the year off. Almost everything has been pushed out of the year. We're only going to get one MCU movie, a couple of other projects, and they are ramping up for an enormous 2025. Disney's newly confirmed 2025 release calendar is packed with huge movies and franchise films, with some of the biggest being Fantastic Four, Avatar 3, and a controversial live-action remake. Despite a disappointing 2023 box office and the WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes, Disney is aiming to own the 2025 box office with a confirmed 9 heavy-hitting titles. That is a lot of movies, especially these big franchises, to put out in one calendar year. Me personally, I do not think that we're going to see all 9 of these movies actually make it to the big screen during the calendar year of 2025. I believe 2 of them will get delayed, and I do have some predictions to go along with these movies that they pack the year of 2025 with. I think they've got a couple of almost guaranteed winners on their hands. They got a couple of guaranteed absolute bombs on their hands and some other stuff in the middle. And I'm going to try and make my predictions and suss out what's going on with Disney in 2025 as they aim to restore their reputation. Bob Iger has talked about this a lot. Now, he said they're going to be cutting back on Marvel movies, but you will not be able to see that when you see the slate of 2025 proposed releases after Deadpool 3, or also known as Deadpool and Wolverine now. First up, we have Captain America Brave New World, February 14th, 2025. After a troubled production marked by delays, rewrites, and even a title change, Marvel Studios' Captain America Brave New World, Anthony Mackie's first film stint as the MCU's new Star-Spangled Man, will finally arrive on Valentine's Day of 2025. In addition to continuing Sam Wilson's story from the Disney Plus The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Captain America 4 is confirmed to bring back stars and connections to the Incredible Hulk and introduce Harrison Ford into the MCU as President Thunderbolt Ross. I do believe Mark Ruffalo just confirmed that Doofus Hulk will be making his return in Captain America Brave New World. They've changed the name of the movie. They've changed the outfit of the star, but I don't believe they're going to be able to wipe off or erase the stink of what Falcon and the Winter Soldier ended up truly being, just one of the worst portrayals of Captain America I've ever seen. Not really Anthony Mackie's fault, but they have absolutely set him up for failure in this one. I do not believe that Harrison Ford has it in him to actually save a movie like this, even being the Red Hulk. Certainly Doofus Hulk isn't going to save this movie. And we know they've already removed the Serpent Society and they're reworking this thing all over the place because it was just such a bad movie. This has got guaranteed bomb written all over it. There's no way this is going to work. They would be better off just shelving Captain America until they get to Secret Wars and reboot the entire universe, because Anthony Mackie as Falcon Cap is just not going to cut it. And they are going to lose a shitload of money on this production, guaranteed, no doubt about it. Next up, we have Disney's Snow White live action remake, March 21st, 2025. One of Disney's upcoming live action remakes is also one of its most controversial. Disney's live action Snow White, starring Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot, has been continuously under fire for mixed reports concerning Disney's creative decisions and Zegler's critiques of the 1937 original animated film. Initially expected to release on March 22nd, 2024, Disney delayed the remake until March 21st, 2025. And there's basically no positive buzz around this whatsoever. I believe Rachel Zegler is probably less popular at this point than Brie Larson was with MCU fans. She has basically denigrated the original movie that launched Disney, as a animated movie platform. The original Snow White cartoon, which is absolutely beloved. It's amazing. Fantastic story there. And she thinks it's outdated. It's just not right for modern audiences. So we're going to get Snow White refangled for the modern audience, which means the modern audience won't show up because they don't support movies. And the people that would like to go see Snow White with their daughters and sons and all that kind of stuff will likely see this as the plague and stay as far away as possible. It's unfortunate that Rachel Zegler has done so much damage to this movie. Like 2 years out before it even comes out, we've seen the original incarnation of what the dwarves are going to be. They were going to be like magic beings. And then we've seen the replacement dwarves, which actually looked worse. And now we've figured out, or at least I guess Disney figured out, people don't like Rachel Zegler. So they're throwing some type of origin story in there to fill out some of the time and remove her from the screen, which is probably a smart move, but certainly not going to be enough to save this movie. Another guaranteed bomb on their hands on this one. She has absolutely killed this movie well over a year before it ever made it to the big screen. And I do think this will let a lot of movie studios know you might not want to put this person in your starring role because she is absolutely a PR nightmare, and basically her Q rating is lower than Jeffrey Dahmer at this point. Next up, we have the Thunderbolts, May 2nd, 2025. Thunderbolts is Marvel Studios' next team-up ensemble comprised of familiar MCU anti-heroes such as Yelena Belova, Red Guardian, Bucky Barnes, Taskmaster, John Walker, U.S. Agent, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Thunderbolts was delayed from its 2024 slot and recently underwent casting changes, including Lewis Pullman, who replaced Stephen Yeun as Sentry. I do not know what to think of this Thunderbolts movie. If there's one thing that the MCU has struggled with almost from the very beginning, it's actually introducing really compelling, awesome villains. There's only been a few, obviously Thanos being probably number one, and I would say Loki number two, but he's also kind of an anti-hero at this point. There are a couple of interesting characters in there. I do certainly like Bucky Barnes, and I do believe most people would like to see him be the Captain America for the MCU moving forward. Obviously, that wasn't going to happen. John Walker, U.S. Agent, was kind of interesting. I think we were supposed to not like him, but everything he did kind of made sense within the framework of Falcon the Winter Soldier. And it certainly made Falcon as Captain America look like kind of a weakling, kind of an idiot. It's like, don't call them terrorists, even though they're blowing people up and killing them left and right. Why is Sentry in this movie? Who gives a shit about Sentry? Marvel Comics don't even care about Sentry. You know, I do like Stephen Yeun. I wish he would be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe as a character. I don't know which one I would want the most, but I'm glad he's not going to be the Sentry. I don't think that character is very important. Has zero drawing power whatsoever in comic books. I don't think he's going to have any within movies as well. People are going to notice that he's just a Superman ripoff. This thing is kind of a wild card, but it's certainly got a lot of bomb potential. It's not the guaranteed bomb that I think Captain America Brave New World is. I don't think it's the guaranteed bomb that the Snow White live action remake is going to be. But there's a lot of potential for the bottom to fall out of this bad boy and not work, even though it appeared people kind of liked the idea, or at least the concept, when the DCEU did their Suicide Squad movie, at least the first time. It actually had a really, really good opening box office. It's too bad the movie sucked. If Marvel can get the formula right and the word of mouth is good, this does have some Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 potential to where people show up after the fact, and maybe it ends up becoming a hit. But I don't really see that happening. I know this has been troubled as well. Next up, we have Elio, June 13th, 2025. From what's known about Disney and Pixar's Elio is that the animated film follows an 11-year-old boy who's accidentally abducted by aliens and finds himself as Earth's intergalactic ambassador. Elio stars Jonas Kibria, Brad Gilbert, She-Hulk Attorney-at-Law's Jamila Jamil, and Barbie's America Ferreira. In the past, I certainly would have said this is a guaranteed hit because that's what Pixar were. They were guaranteed hit makers. That is not the case. They haven't had a hit in a very, very long time. I know it's not the exact same premise, but this gives me, Mars Needs Moms kind of vibes to it. And I do not believe this is going to be the original idea that's really going to get Pixar over the hump and back in the good graces with fans. Even if it is a good movie, I don't know that this one really appeals to everybody. It could be good, but it's certainly got a lot of bomb potential. Maybe it depends a lot on Inside Out 2. Obviously, we saw the trailer during the Super Bowl. If people can't even get behind that, they're certainly not going to get behind Elio at this point. Has potential to be good, but certainly also has the potential to bomb really, really bad because people are not feeling Pixar at this moment. Next up, we have the Moana live-action remake, June 27th, 2025. In the wake of Disney CEO Bob Iger announcing Moana 2 for November 27th of this year, a new Deadline report claims Disney's live-action Moana won't make it to June 2025 release, and production has yet to begin on the remake. Therefore, despite Disney listing the live-action Moana on its 2025 slate, they were doing two live-action movies in the same year. If you remember, I think they did The Lion King and Aladdin in the exact same calendar year. I don't think that's going to happen. And I wish they wouldn't do this Moana remake. Moana isn't a very old movie. I kind of like that one. I thought it was actually pretty darn good. I like the music in it, except for when Rock is singing. I think it's weird to bring Rock back as the same character, in the live action movie. Well, I just wish they would give up the live action remakes altogether. But if you're going to do a live action remake, can it at least be 20 years old? Should we be remaking in live action movies that are less than 10 years old at this point? Or maybe Moana is 12 years old. Maybe I'm completely wrong on that one. It feels newer than that. But I don't think we'll see this one in 2025. It gets pushed out to the next year. And I think it's a mistake even making this movie. I don't know why they're doing it. Next up, we have the Fantastic Four, July 25th, 2025. Marvel Studios finally unveiled the reboot's cast, confirming The Mandalorian's Pedro Pascal as the MCU's Reed Richards, Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, Stranger Things' Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm, and The Bears' Eben Moss Baccarat for Ben Grimm. Fans also get their first look at the team's new costumes, with the super suits taking a much more retro approach in comparison to the MCU's standard fare. I think anytime your fans are speaking to you and telling you what they think, you should probably listen to them. You know, kind of like with the Sonic the Hedgehog, where they released at least what was originally going to be the design for Sonic the Hedgehog in live action. Everyone was like, wow, that looks awful. And they changed it so it would be better. When the rumors were out there that Pedro Pascal was going to be playing Reed Richards, everyone was like, no, thank you very much. He's too old. He does not belong in this movie. He does not have a command presence. He's not really a star of a movie, but they went with it anyway. So they might have already shot themselves in the foot with that. But if the trailer is good and what is around it lets people know that this will be an honest interpretation of the Fantastic Four and a celebration of what they've meant to Marvel Comics. They are the first family of Marvel Comics. I think people are ready for a Fantastic Four movie that's actually good. We haven't really got that. Fantastic Four stick was half of a good Fantastic Four movie, but the second half absolutely sucked. The original two incarnations from Fox Studios weren't very good. Then we had like the Corman one. I don't think that ever actually made it to theaters. That looked absolutely awful. So I think this is bad casting. I never thought anyone would make me miss Miles Teller. If they can get Ben Grimm right and they can get the relationship between Ben Grimm, the Thing, and Mr. Fantastic correct, they have kind of the success of what the magic could be. Although there are a lot of rumors out there that Vanessa Kirby is going to be an enormous ballbuster as Sue Storm, and basically Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards is going to be like the ultimate symbol of misogyny. If they go that route, this thing will bomb. If they actually do something true to the story, true to the series, true to the family, I think it could be huge. I mean, it's all up to Disney at this point, but there's nothing guaranteed about this one, even though I think the casting was uninspired, boring. Call it the Blantastic Four if you want to. If the trailer is good, I do not think all is lost on the Fantastic Four. We'll have to see about that one. It could be huge, though. Next up, we have Blade, November 7th, 2025. Perhaps the most troubled MCU production of all. Marvel Studios first announced Blade at San Diego Comic-Con 2019. While the film still currently stars Mahershala Ali in the titular role in 2022, Marvel shut the Blade reboot down and parted ways with its director. In the months that followed, Marvel Studios adopted a new output strategy and suffered setbacks from the 2023 strikes. If done right, Blade, I think, is a guaranteed winner, but it sounds like they haven't done any of it right. That's why Mahershala Ali has had so many troubles with this. They've gone through so many writers and directors, and it sounds like they still don't have anything definitive down about what their version of Blade is going to be. And you do have a high bar to scale on that one, because Wesley Snipes' first two Blade movies are absolute superhero perfection, absolute vampire perfection, absolute, action movie perfection. So if you want to make a Blade movie that says MCU on it, it better be badass. And it doesn't sound like we're there yet. I don't even know if this movie ever gets made, but it's certainly not going to come out in 2025. Definitely getting pushed into 2026 or perhaps beyond that. Next up, we have Zootopia 2, November 26, 2025. Grabbing the Thanksgiving theatrical slot is a sequel to Disney's 2016 animated buddy cop blockbuster Zootopia, starring Jennifer Goodwin and Jason Bateman. Little else is known about Zootopia 2, but it's one of the many Disney sequels currently in the works, along with Frozen 3 and Toy Story 5. Me personally, I like the Zootopia movie a lot. I think the visuals were absolutely stunning. There was a pretty cool soundtrack to it. I wish they would have original music in Disney movies again, but obviously Frozen, I guess, is the last one with really cool music. And I think Zootopia 2 probably is a guaranteed winner. I don't see how they could screw this one up. It's not Pixar. It is something that Disney created and was very successful. I think it went over $1 billion worldwide the first time. And, they don't have to do $1 billion again to be successful. Throwing it in there to that Thanksgiving weekend slot is very, very advantageous to this movie. Families in the past have liked Disney. Will they have nostalgic feelings about Zootopia? It's an older film at this point. It's not really, really old. But I think people will be excited for Zootopia 2. I know I'll probably watch it. It's one of the few things that I think probably has a lot of potential. I'll give this one a guaranteed win. I think it's going to do very, very well, but it will not be the best performing movie for Disney in 2025, because that definitely belongs to the last movie on the slate, Avatar 3, December 19th, 2025. Looking to continue James Cameron's string of record-breaking blockbusters, Avatar 3 is just one of the many sequels set to follow Avatar: The Way of Water. In addition to reuniting most of the 2022's film cast, Avatar 3 intends to introduce a new Na'vi clan, the Ash People, and further explore Spider's story and his importance to the Avatar narrative. A lot of people were trashing Avatar: The Way of Water, which I still think has a stupid name to it. I don't think it really works, but I was excited about the sequel because I liked the first Avatar movie. Everyone else was acting like they didn't like it, and it ended up going well over $1 billion and was a huge success for Disney. Of course, it wasn't really a Disney production. It was a Fox production, but they got the rights to those movies when they acquired Fox, and now they get the opportunity to do the Avatar 3 sequel movie to this. And it's a guaranteed win. James Cameron, basically anytime he makes a movie, is going to do very, very well. It's unfortunate he only makes a movie every 4 to 5 years or whatever. The Way of Water is too long. There's no doubt about that, but I still liked it. I like the original Avatar movie. I like Avatar: The Way of Water, and it seems like overseas, especially in Asia, they absolutely love Avatar, and I imagine Avatar 3 will blow up. Will it be bigger than the second movie? I think it probably will be. Will it be bigger than the first movie? Absolutely not, because that thing was a phenomenon unto itself at the time, obviously only eclipsed by, I believe, Endgame at this point, another Disney production that was definitely a success, and I think they would like to get back to those kind of successes on their way to the Kang Dynasty, or what is it? The other name is going to be Avengers 5, or perhaps even Secret Wars. Don't see that ever happening again, and I don't actually ever see an Avatar movie eclipsing the first one, but probably going to do $1.5 billion or something like that, make a whole lot of money, and likely throw Disney well over the top when it comes to 2025 total box office as the dominant movie studio in the world for the entire year. They will not get that in 2024 because they have pushed so many movies out of 2024 into 2025. It is going to be loaded up, but I do think they have a lot of bombs and a lot of potential bombs on their hands. They better get their shit straight, or they could just bomb the entire thing and really only get Zootopia 2 and Avatar 3 as successes for the entire year. Could be interesting. If you're interested in more pop culture talk, and especially comic book talk, I do want to invite you to come and visit me over on the Patreon. There's a link in the video description. We got 8 hours of new podcasts every single week, talking to your favorite guests on the channel like Aaron Sparrow, Doc, Jim from Weird Science, obviously yours truly as well. And we have a whole lot of fun over there. Lots of great stuff going on the Patreon as well. Definitely check it out. I think you're going to enjoy it.